Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? I'll wait for y'all to get in the room, man, before I start this talking about this topic this is episode 5 right here, man. This episode 5 of Heavyweight Boxing Talk Live. Let me get to the question that was sent to me on episode 2 so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about on this one right here. What's good, man? What's the deal, y'all? Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? I'm trying to find the question that was asked to me a few weeks ago, and I want to do a video about it. I've been telling you guys I'm going to do a video about it. There you go. Chin Up, what's good, man? He's actually in the room. Chin Up is in the room, okay? I'm trying to find the question. I know you know what you asked me, but I'm trying to just inform everybody. Unity Boxing, what's good, man? Let me find this question that was asked by Chin Up. He's in the room right now. I just had it up, man. That was hard for me to get to it. Oh, damn. Peanut butter and crackers was good, man. All right. I can't pull it up, but pretty much Chin Up was asking me to go in depth and, do a thorough breakdown about Joshua, Wilder, the size, as far as their weight difference, the pros and cons of both fighters. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find the damn question. It won't pop up on here, man. All right. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a quick second. Man, I was just on a boxing scene, man, and I seen Sergey Kuzmin was talking about Deontay Wilder, saying he hasn't fought tough competition. I'm going to go over that real quick before I start talking about this. I like what Kuzmin is doing. You know what I mean? I think Wilder beats him, but I like what he's doing, man. You know what I mean? Look, it's just like the other day when I seen some fans saying that Parker should be more gracious and generous when he's talking to Joshua about making a fight. It's like, what? This is the fight game, man. He's not trying to be his damn friend. The hell with that. Be as rude as you have to be. You know what I mean? Like, what is AJ going to say? I'm not going to fight him because he was rude to me. Come on, you guys, man. Like, it's not like he's talking about his mama or nothing, man. He's just, going about it in the way he wants to do it, man. So, but like what Kuzmin's doing, he's saying that Wilder's fight, he hasn't fought tough competition and he's criticizing Wilder. I like what Kuzmin is doing because if he doesn't talk and doesn't say something that's going to get our attention, nobody's going to pay attention to him. He's only 11-0. He has one technical draw with Mansour. But my thing is, I think him and Mansour has some unfinished business. It got stopped in the 3rd round, technical draw. And to tell you the truth, I thought Mansour won at least 2 of those 3 rounds, to tell you the truth. So he still got some unfinished business. And Kuzmin's people said a fight that they're interested in is Jarrell Miller. I think that's a good style. As far as style, that's a good fight. What's good, Fat Apples? He says, everyone knows Wilder's record is poor. I guess, man. Whatever that means. I'm not sure what that means. In comparison to who? Please let me know who has these stellar resumes at heavyweight. I know you're going to say AJ because he beat Klitschko, but then who else? Please, inform me. Inform me. Okay, but man, let me get to this, all right? So 2 weeks ago, Chin Up, who's in the comment section right now, he says, let me see. Let me pull it up, man. So hard for me to find. I just had it pulled up too, man. Today is what? Today is the 28th. All right. And this was sent to me on the 13th. It was on episode 2. My slow ass iPad. All right, let me get to it really quick. For those of y'all joining, man, what's up? I can see the comments popping up, but I can't read them right now at this second. All right, he says, for your next episode, can you please touch on Wilder's weight, 220 pounds, compared to AJ's 254 pounds? Talk about the heavies you've seen both fighters. Talk about the difference, the athleticism, the power, the speed, the resistance and stamina. Weigh on the pros and cons that both fighters present. Also touch on the mindset, the mental toughness, the reality behind what the fight means to the public, into the fighters. I appreciate if you talk about those points more thorough. Thanks. All right, so I'm about to do it, man. As far as the weight, all right, and this is what I'm going to do, man. I'm going to just go ahead and do what I do, and then I'll go to the comments, because if I try to talk about one thing and go to the comments and talk, it's going to take me forever. All right, so as far as the 220 versus the 254 pounds, if AJ was if Anthony Joshua was a physical fighter, then I would say, man, he has, 34-pound weight advantage, man. That's going to kill Wilder. But that's really not what he does. He wants to, he's not going to get on you shoulder to shoulder and try to bang it out with you. He wants his room, he wants a little bit of room, not necessarily long range, but he wants like medium range so he can land hooks, uppercuts, those type of punches, in my opinion. Did I say he was 230? He was 220. 220. All right. So 220. He was 220 for his last fight, or somewhere around there, close to it. All right. But so his 254 is like, really doesn't mean, if anything, for his sake, I hope him being that much doesn't hinder him going into other fights. Stamina issues, you know what I mean? But I really don't see that being a big thing, the 34-pound weight advantage. On paper, it looks like a lot, but really doesn't, to me, no difference, because he's not a physical fighter. He's not like he's Jarrell Miller, where he's trying to put pressure on you, trying to back you up or something like that, So I really don't see much there. Wilder 220, some people think it's a little thin. He creates a lot of power, man. Wilder kind of comes from that cloth of like a Tommy Hearns, Bob Foster, where they're kind of like these rail thin guys, but they generate a lot of power, especially when they can land their straight punches. So, and then, look at Emmanuel Char. Emmanuel Char, he just fought Usmanov, right? I know it's two different fighters, but Usmanov weighed 280. Char weighed, 230? And he knocked him down with a left hook. You know what I mean? So, Joshua, in my opinion, doesn't use his weight like that. He's not trying to be a physical fighter. Like, you guys remember how George Foreman used to fight, right? Like the fight with Frazier. George was literally pushing Frazier back, knocking him off balance by literally pushing him, extending his arms, pushing Frazier at the shoulders, being physical, pushing him. Joshua really doesn't do it. He's trying to throw punches. You know what I mean? As far as athleticism, I think both guys are athletic. Wilder seems more quicker on his feet. His lateral movement seems a little bit better. Joshua, his movements is more coming forward. He keeps his guard up, and Joshua's the type of guy that wants to slip punches from what I see. He'll keep his guard up. He isn't necessarily a high guard fighter, but he'll put the guard up and he'll try to slip and he'll roll a little bit, but he's not bending at the waist and doing all that. He did it against Klitschko. To me, that was a lot of fatigue, and Klitschko became so predictable with those lead left hooks. When he hurt Joshua, he just became predictable, where the whole damn crowd knew that he was throwing a left hook. You know what I mean? But Joshua does have athleticism. To be that big, that muscular, he does move pretty well for a guy that size. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to say that he's not athletic. It's two different type of athletic. You know what I mean? Wilder's more, in my opinion, more of a east to west type of guy. With his defense, Wilder can drop his hands, man, have his chin way up in the air. I've seen him get away with it. Joshua has a reach, though, man, to where if Wilder tries to pull back like that, man, with his chin up in the air, just pulling back, Joshua does have an 82-inch reach. He might catch Wilder with a straight punch. Joshua throws pretty good straight punches too. Wilder has an 83-inch reach. Wilder's, on paper, he's about 6. They list him as 6'7", AJ 6'6". I want to see these guys stand face to face, man. I don't think I've never seen these guys stand face to face. I've seen Wilder and Parker stand face to face. I've never seen Wilder and AJ ever stand face to face. I just want to see, because on paper, you know how it is, man. They say a guy is 6'7", then he stands next to somebody 6'6". He looks shorter. You know what I mean? So I believe Wilder is a full 6'7", but I just want to see him face to face, man. And then let me go to okay, so power now. Power, I think both guys have tremendous power. Joshua, a lot of his fights, you know, some of the stoppages, some fans say the refs are stepping in early. I mean, we can argue that, you know what I mean? But he's definitely putting some power on guys, man, to where they don't want no more. Gary Corners looked like he didn't want anymore. Dillian White, he knocked his ass unconscious, or he was out of there. Klitschko, they stopped it a little early. You know, he had him hurt. The punches, the follow-up punches, this like they were landing all that. It's like he was really landing them, but Klitschko was hurt. He put him down a few times, so he got some pop there. You know what I mean? Takam, I thought that was a little bit premature, but he was landing some good shots on Takam. Joshua has some good power, man. You know what I mean? Good thudding. And his power is more out of, to me, is his combination punching. I think he's a better combination puncher than Deontay Wilder. Put it like this. If both guys were to throw a 6-punch combo, I will put my money on it that AJ would land majority of his 6 punches and in succession, and I think he'll have more power on them. 1-punch power, I'm gonna go with Deontay Wilder. His power, man, I've seen him and Joshua hurt Johnson bad too. You know, a lot of guys he's hurt bad. You know what I mean? Wilder, I've seen him make guys do the fucking splits, man. Like literally, even you could say, oh, they're lesser guys, but I'm telling you, man, the way their body reacts to some of these punches, you say, you know, some guys can argue, well, anybody could do that. Well, I haven't seen anybody really do that to some of these guys. Spilka, I haven't seen nobody put him in a coma like that. You know what I mean? I haven't seen nobody put Severn. He had his damn, I mean, he folded him over, man. You know what I mean? The dude was like folded over, leaning back out of there. Lyakovich, that dude was twitching on the floor with one arm up in the air. I mean, that's some scary shit, man. Whether you like him or not, that's some scary shit, man. You know, so I think both guys have power. Again, I think Joshua's more in his combination. He has a really good uppercut. And then we know about Wilder's right hand. Speed. Now, when you say speed, if you're talking about hand speed in combination form, I'm going with Joshua. If it's just from a range, a little distance, and it's a jab 1-2, although Wilder can throw some looping shots at some time, but they get there pretty quick. Even when he's missing some of those wild punches, he's throwing pretty damn fast. That's what I'm noticing about him. Like, damn, that's pretty wild, but it's pretty damn fast too. You know what I mean? So they both have good speed, just in different ways, man. In different ways. Resistance and stamina. Chin Up asked me about the resistance and stamina. Resistance, I mean, both guys show, you know, look, this isn't some video, man, to try to make it seem like these guys are invincible. They can't be hurt. I'm not doing that shit, man. I've seen both these guys put on their ass. Whether you want to say, well, he got put on his ass against a better opponent. Okay, fair enough. But I seen him hurt. He got hurt. He showed that he can be hurt. Joshua, Klitschko hurt him. And Deontay Wilder, seen Eric Molina buzz him. I seen Duhaupas swell both his eyes up real bad. And even, you know, I know both of these guys are different fighters, man, from their amateur days. But even the amateurs, I've seen Joshua get hurt by Dillian White. I've seen, what's the other guy? Mihai Nestor. What was that guy's name that hurt him? I seen that guy hurt him. Wilder, when he was an amateur, I seen Evgeny Romanov hurt him. And even when he turned pro, his 13th fight, I seen him get, he got dropped against Harold, what was the dude's name? Harold Skonis. You know what's ironic about that guy, man? People get on that and they want to, you know, they laugh about it. And, you know, shit happens, man. I've seen some great fighters go down by lesser fighters early in their career, go on to have great careers. The Harold Skonis guy, guess who he got demolished by? You'll never guess who demolished him in one round. You'll never guess. Bermain Stavern. Blew him out. I believe it was like 2008, 2007. Destroyed him in one round. You know what I mean? So, shit happens, man. Shit happens. And Wilder, when he was in the Olympics, a lot of people forget he wasn't a super heavyweight. He was at heavyweight, which is cruiserweight in the pros. So, and I remember being on chat forums when I used to go on Eastside Boxing. That was called, I think, Boxing 24/7. But back when it was called Eastside Boxing, I used to always be on there. And I remember when he was turning pro, I was like, man, well, I remember having to chatting with people in the under articles saying, man, I wonder if this guy's going to be a cruiserweight. I thought he's going to be a cruiserweight, then work his way up to heavyweight because he was a really thin guy. You know what I mean? But he ended up going up to heavyweight. Man, he turned pro and he fought at heavyweight. AJ's 28 years old. Wilder's 32 years old. We know AJ has 20 fights. Wilder has 39 fights. He turned pro in 2008. AJ turned pro in 2013. I think AJ had about, 43 amateur fights. I think Wilder had 35. So both of these guys, man, to make it to the Olympics and medal, I know AJ won the gold. Some people argue that he probably lost a fight or two in the Olympics or whatever. He won gold, you know what I mean? However you break it down. Wilder ended up getting a bronze. In my opinion, at least, I don't know about some of you guys, man, but for guys to have under 50 fights and make it to the Olympics and medal, I think that's pretty damn good. You know what I mean? Whether it's a gold, silver, or bronze, in my opinion, because there's guys with 300-400 amateur fights that lose in the quarterfinals. You know what I mean? So for these guys not to have that much experience, man, I think that's impressive. You know what I mean? Stamina. I was asked about the stamina of both guys. I believe that Wilder has good stamina. AJ, I've seen him gas a few times against Klitschko, against White. And again, you can say, but it was against Klitschko and White. I'm just saying I've seen the guy tired. Regardless who was against, I seen him tired. Now, the good thing for him is he got his second win. Now, you can say, well, Klitschko allowed him to get a second win. White allowed him to get a second win. Okay, whatever. Whether he was allowed to or not, I've seen him tired, but he got a second win. Will Wilder give him the opportunity if he sees him hurt? That's a good question. I think Wilder has better stamina. I think he has better stamina, man. Even fights when it was a grueling fight for him, regardless of who was against, just how physical the fight was, like the do-up fight. I thought that was a physical fight. Wilder kind of fought like mid-range some portions of that fight, man. Now, if he fights Joshua like that, I think Joshua's going to get the better of him, man. I just think a mid-range fight between the two, I'm favoring Joshua. I think his technique is better, and I think his combination punching is better, and that uppercut is vicious, man. That's a vicious uppercut. Wilder was landing some good shots on Duhaupas. He was landing some good hooks, his good uppercuts of his own. I just give Joshua the advantage on that part. If they're fighting from a distance, jabbing, trying to land right hands from a distance, moving their head, that type of shit, I'm favoring Wilder. Although Wilder, like I said, when he leaps back and put his chin up in the air like that, he could get caught. But if he fights a disciplined fight, work behind the jab, I think his jab is a little bit quicker than Joshua's. I don't think AJ really uses the jab as, you know what, I'm going to beat you with my jab this round. I think he uses it even against Takam when Takam was moving his head, making him think. Joshua even jabbed to the body, but it wasn't that fast snapping jab that I seen of Wilder's. It's a good jab. It has some good power on it, but I would rate Wilder's jab a little bit better. But it's all about timing too, though, man. You can have you can have the better jab. A lot of us think you have the better jab, but it's about timing. You know what I mean? A fight that I'll always bring up, in my opinion at least, as far as out jabbing a jab master, Carl the Truth Williams and Larry Holmes. When we think of all-time jabs, we think of Holmes, but I thought Williams got the better of him in that fight, jabbing him. Even Pulev and Klitschko. I thought that Klitschko resorted to lead power shots, because he didn't want to go jab for jab with Pulev because he was, giving him his money's worth when it was coming. And he even buzzed Klitschko with a jab. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think as far as their jabs, man. And as far as he says, he says the mindset and the mental toughness. To me, man, all bullshit aside, to get to the level that they're at right now and to make successful title defenses, regardless of what you think of the competition or whatever, to get to this point, man, you gotta have some mental toughness. Their mindset, like I always say, and there's nothing wrong with this, it's just for me, I prefer when guys are a little bit more straightforward. But again, this is AJ, he can do what he want. I think he's really philosophical with a lot of his answers. So sometimes I'm just scratching my head like, huh? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand what you're saying, but you went about that in a long, you went around the block about 5 times to answer one question. So sometimes that can get viewed by some fans, especially American fans, as, oh, he's soft or this or that. And in my opinion, I don't necessarily look at it like that. It's just that he's just one of those philosophical guys, man. Whereas Wilder's more boisterous and in your face and that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Again, I like to use examples, man. But I know when Tyson was getting ready to fight Holyfield, Tyson's the, I'm a knock your head off. I'm a beat his ass, that type of dude. And Holyfield just more laid back, like, hey, we got to fight. I'm just looking to get in the ring and do my best. And talking about the Lord and all that. And I remember this clear as day, man. The lead up to that fight, one of my uncles kept talking about, man, this dude talking about the Lord. He about to lose, man. You don't go into the fight talking about the Lord. And Holyfield went in there and whooped his ass. Well, it was a classic fight, but y'all know what happened in the first fight. Holyfield went in there and handled Mike. It's just some guys go about things differently, man. Let me see, what else did he ask me? So mental toughness, man, I think both guys are mentally tough. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, again, like when we hear Joshua say that, yeah, it can happen 2018, but if it happens 2019, 2020, shit like that, that just makes you go, what? Like, what are you talking about, dude? You know what I mean? A lot of us fans, we just want to hear 2018 and that's it. You know what I mean? That's what we want to hear. So yes, he does mention that it's going to happen 2018, but then he'll mention some other years too, where it just makes you like, okay, I guess. But I think both of the dudes are mentally tough. Now, I was asked, what did this fight mean to the public? I think it's a big fight. Although some fans like to say, oh, it's not a big fight. Who has he beaten and who? Baloney, man. That's complete bullshit. That's complete bullshit. After the fight that he had with Takum, his post-fight interview in the ring, the guy, they asked him about Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? It's all over social media. And for those of you that think like, oh, it's just on social media, that doesn't mean anything. Dude, we're in the social media era. Like, don't you know how many damn followers are on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook? Millions. Social media isn't some platform where there's like 130 people. You know what I'm saying? Millions of people are connected to these platforms, man. And there's hundreds of thousands of boxing fans that want this fight. So let's not get that twisted, man. I think it's huge. It's a big fight right now. And I think both fighters know this. It's now domestically, I think Fury and AJ is the bigger fight out there in the UK. I think that's the bigger fight for them. But I think if you add in the world, I think that Wilder and AJ is, it's right up there, man. It's right up there. I know in the UK, Fury and Joshua is the bigger fight. But right now, Fury is nowhere to be found. Well, let me rephrase that. Yes, I know he's training, quote unquote, training right now. But he's been doing this off and on shit forever, man. I stopped making videos about it. Just, I'll make a video when I see he signed up to fight somebody. But right now, Wilder isn't out of shape. He hasn't been sitting out for 2 years. He's ready to fight. Fury needs to lose weight, man, before I take him serious. But when he does lose weight, I will take him very seriously. Because he's the guy that beat Vladimir Klitschko. I don't think he gets enough credit for it. I don't give a damn how it looked. People are starting to be too nitpicky to me, man, in my opinion. Well, it didn't look how I wanted it to look. He didn't knock him out. It was boring. Okay, well, he won damn near every round in a boring fight. And he schooled him. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Joshua knocked him out. But out with the old, in with the new, man. That was a different era. So Klitschko, and I seen some footage of Klitschko training, and he said, I feel good. Klitschko, you need to sit down somewhere, man. You're a great fighter. You had your run. And just because you physically still have muscles and look the part, and not just muscle, but he's toned up, looks in shape, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to hang with these guys right now. It's a different wave. You're older. You're over 40. When once you start doing that, and I know some of you may say, but look at Amir Mansour. He's still fighting, and Shane, but Amir Mansour hasn't fought Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. He hasn't fought the top guys. He's fought Brazil and Washington and guys like that. But once you get over 40, man, I just think you're treading whole different water once you start doing that, man. Everybody isn't Big George Foreman. I know people say, well, Foreman did it. Yeah, and Foreman's an all-time great. Not to say Vladimir isn't, man, but everybody can't be Big George. That's just not how it, in Larry Holmes, it just doesn't go like that. You know what I mean? But if he wants to come back, man, and try to do it, I guess, man. And then when I look at these guys, man, as far as their competition, now, yes, I know that Joshua has 20 fights and Wilder has 39 fights and he's been pro 5 years longer. I know all that. And I think that Anthony Joshua was pushed a little bit quicker because I think Eddie Hearn kind of looked at it like, shit, you definitely looked the part. We know that you're a heavyweight. When Wilder was turning pro, he was like a small, as far as weight goes. Again, he competed at heavyweight in the amateurs and the Olympics. So when he got to the pros, he became a pro heavyweight. Heavyweight in the amateurs is cruiserweight. So he was pretty much a cruiserweight, then he became a heavyweight. He got dropped in his 13th fight. They really didn't know what they had. He had to blossom a little bit. Whereas a guy like AJ, they kind of say, hey, you're a gold medal winner. You're a big guy. We know that you're a heavyweight. Let's roll the dice. And that's what Hearn did. And he won. And they pushed him a little bit sooner. And it's just, two guys is two different roads. That's how I look at it, man. I don't really get into, well, he's accomplished. Yeah, he has accomplished more. Technically, yeah, he's a unified champion. By his 20, at 20 fights, he's a unified champion. He beat a future Hall of Famer at the tail end of his career. Yeah, he has, as far as that goes. But two different roads, man. It doesn't make, shit, Mike Tyson was on a way quicker road to glory than Lennox Lewis. Does that really mean anything at the end of their career? No, it doesn't. Some people will rate Lennox Lewis higher than Mike Tyson. So that's just how I look at that, man. Just two different roads taken. But right now, what I know is some people say AJ, is if he fights Wilder later on, he'll be a better fighter. Are we sure that he'll be better? Unless AJ shows me this fabulous back foot game that I don't know that he has, because I don't really see AJ having like a back foot game where he's on the back foot, popping out a jab, slipping, moving, roll. He doesn't come across as that type of fighter. So unless he shows me that and he, then I'll say, damn, I didn't know he had that in him. You know what I mean? But right now he's a come forward guy, likes to throw fast, quick combinations, move his head when punches are coming, likes to deflect with his gloves and kind of, slip punches. That's what he does. I really don't see how he's going to get better, or what is that he's going to add to his game that makes him a better fighter. Rather, to me, it would be this back foot game that none of us, or at least that I don't know that he has. Wilder, there's some things that I think he could work on, but right now he's 32 years old, man. To me, is not keeping his chin up in the air, not being as wild, but I think that's his instincts. Some people say, oh, it's his technique is awful. And I've had disagreements with people about this when I've seen him hit the pads and work the mitts and stuff. He shows good technique when he does that in some of the videos that I've seen. But then when he gets in the ring, he fights a totally different style. And I think he fights in a style that's just suited and comfortable for him. Every fighter can't go in there and fight like that. And if you guys go and watch, and I know I bring him up a lot, man, but it's just a good example. Larry Holmes fought with his hands at his waist, low, chin in the air sometimes. You know what I mean? But Wilder, only thing I can say about him, man, as far as just not being as wild, that's the only way I see him getting better. But his jab and back foot game, he showed me that he had that against Stavern. And to tell you the truth, man, I've said this before, I actually picked Stavern to beat him in the first fight. So a lot of people don't know that. unless you were sub to me back then. But I actually picked Stavern to beat him because why? Because I didn't think Wilder had a back foot game. It's not because I think Stavern's a great fighter or, you know, this all-time great pressure fighter. No, it just I didn't think he had a back foot game. I didn't see it in none of his fights. And I knew he got dropped before in the amateur. I just thought, man, once Stavern slips and I didn't think his jab was that good. And I was like, man, once Stavern slips his jab and gets close, I think he's the better mid-range fighter. I think he's going to eat Wilder up. And Wilder went in there and showed me something I've never seen that he had. Now, you can say Stavern's not that. That's not the point. It's the fact that I didn't think Wilder had none of that. You know, you guys get what I'm saying? It's not so much what Stavern wasn't or was. It's just I didn't think Wilder had a back foot game. You know? Let me read some of these comments, man. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to catch up to what y'all saying. Damn, it's a lot of damn comments, man. I appreciate all the comments. Y'all getting here, man. Y'all hit that like button, man. There's 85 of y'all watching this, man. Hit that like button, y'all. There we go. Damn, there's a lot of damn comments, man. Let me see. Arjun Ganapi, he asked me, did you check out Tyson Fury's latest interview on IFL TV? No, I haven't seen it, man. Joseph Bacon says, can the golden age of boxing return to the U.S. with the NFL and NBA being so popular? Getting Washington and Brazil leaving football is good, but does the U.S. still have the amateur programs? Yeah, amateur programs are still here. You know, to me, in my opinion, man, a lot of the world has caught up with the U.S. in different sports. Not necessarily now, we can argue if the U.S. is better in different, you know, sports like basketball and stuff like that. But I'm just saying they've caught up as far as their athletes, in my opinion. And I think, you know, we got to deliver, man, once we get there. You know, when we're trying to qualify for the games like Marlo Moore, he beat Damarni Rock. Damarni Rock is an undefeated guy right now. I've done quite a few videos on him. He was Olympic hopeful. A lot of people thought that he would, you know, have a chance to beat guys like Yoka and Herkovich and Joyce and those type of guys, man. But he ended up losing in the Olympic trials to Marlo Moore. And then Moore had to win one of the tournaments and then he lost. We have to deliver once we get there. We have solid guys, man. We just have to deliver when we get in those tournaments. And as far as guys coming over from football and basketball a little bit more than they were back in the day when some of these kids were just boxers and stuff like that, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people say, oh, he's a football player. I mean, what does that mean? He's a football player that can fight. You know what I mean? He's a basketball player that can fight. And you can kind of, you know, if you're a football player, maybe you can use some of that agility and physicality along with your boxing skills and become a good fighter. If you're a basketball player, you can use some of that quickness and hand-eye coordination and stuff like that and incorporate into being a good fighter. You know what I mean? So we got to deliver, man. We got to deliver. Guys are competing in these tournaments. We're just not delivering. Somebody says Povetkin has a good resume. Yeah. Back when Povetkin was getting ready to fight Deontay Wilder, I remember going into my prediction video, I was saying at that time, I thought Povetkin had the second best resume behind Vladimir Klitschko at that time when going into the Wilder fight that ended up getting canceled. Antonio McCray was good, man. Somebody says Dillian White coming into his own, Fury coming back, already lost 3 stone in weight. Good for him. Good for him. Let's keep it up now because he did this shit before, man, where he's like, oh, I lost. Remember when he was training with Billy Joe Saunders months ago, months and months and months ago. Oh, I just lost this many pounds, and he disappeared. And now he's back and, you know, he does this. She's like Candyman. You know what I mean? You say his name, he appears and he disappears. Good, man. He needs to keep it up. Fat Apple says Wilder is a top 5 boxer. Do you not agree he has a lesser resume than Povetkin, Ortiz, Pulev, and Parker? Even Bellew and Brown have a see. Come on, man. Brown has a better all right, I'm going. And you said just be honest, bruh. Be honest about what, man? I mean, come on. So Lucas Brown has a better resume than Deontay Wilder? Come on, man. And that's another thing. If the resumes are so shit to some of y'all, that's why they need to fight. Don't you guys get tired of 6, 7, 8 undefeated guys walking around? That's why I want to see these guys fight, man. Peanut Butter and Cracker says, Tommy Hearns, my #1 all-time favorite, just saying. Hey, I've said it before, man. My non-heavyweights, as far as my non-heavyweight favorites, because my favorite 10 fighters are all heavyweights, but my first non-heavyweight favorite fighter is Tommy Hearns. Somebody says, hey, almost KO Wilder in sparring. Yeah, I seen him land a good shot on Wilder, but that footage was edited, chopped up. I'm curious to see what Wilder landed on Hay. But yeah, he did crack Wilder and Wilder got buzzed. Yeah, that is true. Trying to see some questions here. Amazing Eric Sports was good, man. He says, true, Klitschko was telegraphing that left hook in the second half of the fight. Yeah, man, because to tell you the truth, he was landing that left hook on Joshua flush. He was landing it flush, man. And I don't think Klitschko let him off the hook, but it wasn't like he was like, all right, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to let you off the hook. He let him off the hook, in my opinion, meaning he started to just throw Lee left hook, Lee left hook, Lee left hook. And it was just like, okay, man, when are you going to stop throwing Lee left hooks? And then the way Joshua was bending down the duck, he was like doing a note, like a complete no-no, where he was like literally looking at the canvas ducking. When usually you're supposed to just kind of just crouch down with your head still up looking at your opponent ducking. But he was exhausted. And I was like, man, why don't Klitschko either feint the jab or feint the left hook and come with that uppercut? You know, that's why but you know, heat of the moment, Klitschko in his head probably thought, hey, man, this lead left hook is working. Let me land it again and then try to follow with a right hand. Who knows what he was thinking, man, but he just became way too predictable. Chris Smiley says, Dubois going to be a problem for the whole division. He has good potential, man. Kid has very good potential. I want to see him and Nathan Gorman. Gorman's working with Ricky Hatton. He's a good body puncher from what I see. But that right there is going to be a good matchup. And I think he will test Dubois. We'll see, though, man. The kid got a lot of pop in him, man. And he's young. And Dubois doesn't seem like the type, although he comes across as, you know, doesn't say much, you know, always cheesing and smiling. But I don't think he's coming up to be nobody's friend. That's one thing I noticed about him, man. He isn't trying to be buddy. And, you know, when they ask him about fighters, he's saying he wants all the straps. You know what I mean? And I like guys like that, man. I don't like all this, I want to be friends. You know what I mean? Nah, you can't be friends when you're trying to be #1. You know what I mean? Again, I go back to Parker. When fans were talking about Parker and his team are amateurs and they should be more gracious when trying to get a fight with AJ. It's like, what are you talking? Gracious? Like, I mean, how are they supposed to approach him? Hey, AJ, can we please get a fight? And you can offer us whatever you want to offer us. We're just going to be, man, get the hell out of here with that, man. Gracious. Like, what are we talking about here? Chin Up says, what about combos? I answer that, man. I favor AJ when it comes to combination punching. It's a lot of them comments in here, yo. I seen D-Style boxing in here. What's up, D-Style? Red Fox, what's up? D-Style, man, our bet's off. David, hey, man, I knew I don't trust his body, man. Not even in a fight, just a training camp. I do not trust David Hayes' body, but that fight is off, man, the Bellew fight. I had Bellew, me and D-Style Boxing had a little small bet on that fight, and I was going with Tony Bellew, man. Fat Apple says both have power, both have speed, technical, basic fundamentals, footwork, and timing I give to AJ. Timing, I mean, and footwork. See, we'll have to have a back and forth on this because when you say timing, based on what? Like, I think Wilder has good timing with his jab. And he knows when to throw the right hand. Sometimes he can get real wild with that right hand, man. Like I'll bring up the Spilka fight. It was early on in the fight, man, where Wilder threw 3 right hands in a row. And they were so off, man. One of the right hands, I believe 2 of them, or maybe it was all 3, I forget. But it was early in the fight. You guys probably know exactly what I'm talking about. He threw these right hands so damn wild where, you know, he's an orthodox fighter, where when he threw the right hand, his right foot came off the ground and it turned into his lead foot. Then he pulled back, got back in the stance, threw it again, did the same mistake again. Spilka did not take advantage of it. So he can get off balance sometimes. But there's sometimes I've seen Joshua, especially when he starts to gas a little bit, his feet look a little bit clunky to me, if you get what I'm saying. Like, look a little bit clunky and just top heavy sometimes, man, when he gets a little bit exhausted. It's a lot of damn comments in here, man. I'm just going to try to catch up at the bottom. Let me see here. Somebody says the 50-50 fight. James Boone says this is a 50-50 fight. No one is scared or ducking. Yeah, I don't think nobody's scared of ducking. Well, nah, I don't think nobody's scared of each other, man. I don't. Why do fanboys want to even see this fight if they think Joshua Wilder will be knocked out in 1 round? I'm so bored of fanboys. Doc's World says Wilder, the worst fight I've ever seen. Windmill puncher. Okay. Fair enough. All right, let me see. M. Reynolds says Spilka had Wilder confused for a while in that fight. His movement gave Wilder issues, but once Wilder timed him with that short right, it was over. You know, man, I think that fight for Wilder, because Spilka, man, when you guys are going to watch that fight, man, he starts off moving his head, kind of bending over to his left a little bit, and he's moving and jittery and, you know, all that. I think, yeah, it did kind of make Wilder say, hey, what the hell I got in front of me? Let me figure this out. Kind of like Takam and AJ, where Takam was moving and jittery and, you know what I mean, to where it made AJ say, okay, let me figure this out. That's one thing I give both guys. They have patience. They show patience in those fights. Somebody says Wilder did great against Charlie Zelenoff. You know what, man? I know people like to get on that. I bet you he won't say nothing about his daughter again. I bet you that. You know, Zelenoff, he had to sign a waiver for that to happen. That gym was out in California, man. And I know some people say he has mental issues. Yeah, I bet you he got his mind right now. I bet you he got his mind right now. Rob Lee says Spilka embarrassed Wilder. I had him up 9-1 before the lucky punch. Okay. 9-1. I don't know how you had it 9-1. I had it 4-3-1 Spilka going into the ninth. I don't think he was embarrassing him. I thought his movement was giving him a little bit of problems. And I think there was a lot of rounds where I gave to Spilka because I thought he was doing more of what was going on, which wasn't a lot. A lot of posturing, feinting, and they were throwing punches. They were barely landing, but I didn't see an embarrassment. But if that's what you thought, that's cool. But then you call a look if you want, man. It put him to sleep. He put him in a damn coma. So yeah, he got put in a lucky coma, I guess. Chanindu Amadi, he says, so according to Mr. Box today, the only thing AJ is better than Wilder at is combination punching. Interesting. I didn't say he was that Wilder was better at everything else. I mean, I'm just breaking it down, man. Like, I think he's better at combination punching. I think he's a better body puncher. I just think he's a better mid-range fighter than Deontay Wilder. A lot can happen mid-range. You know what I mean? It's like you're looking for me to say, and I think both guys both have good chins. I think that's about even. You know, you're taking, I mean, take it how you want, man. Y'all, you know, the pro AJ fans going to say, you can give him no props. And the pro, you know, it is what it is, man. I'm not about to be just saying anything to make y'all happy, man. But if that's what you think, bro, cool. I mean, it's a 50-50 fight. So make sure you put that in the comment section, too, that I also think is 50-50. I'm just telling you what I see, man. You know, if you see something different, you think he has amazing footwork and he can't get hurt and all, I mean, that's cool too, man. But that's what I see. And I think it's a 50-50. So make sure you remember that too. Somebody says, what do you think about the weight difference? I answer that. I really don't think much of it because, in my opinion, Anthony Joshua really isn't a physical fighter that uses his weight. He's not like leaning on you or pushing you back, or he likes to have a little bit of distance and let combinations go. He's not, you know, he's not like this guy that comes, you know, that weight comes forward. But he's not a guy that's putting his shoulders and forearms on you and putting his weight down. He doesn't really use it like that, in my opinion. But hey, you know, maybe some of you may think different. Fat Apple says, do you think AJ Martin was a 50-50 fight, or did you give the edge to one or the other? I thought that was an interesting fight. I picked AJ to win the fight. I thought it was an interesting fight because of the southpaw style and the fights that I've seen of Martin, although against lesser opposition. I thought his left hand was going to be a key for him if he can pick his spots to land it when AJ's head straight up in the air. But I picked Anthony Joshua to win that fight. And then he went in there and put a beat down on Charles Martin, man. Charles Martin started feeling them punches. He didn't want no more of that. He didn't want no more of that work, man. Joshua put a beat down on him. Money Man says, did you hear Bob Arum's interview? No, I didn't hear what Bob said. Now I see somebody in here leaving crazy I don't know how to block people yet, man, but just never mind that shit, man. Probably somebody upset that I'm not saying what they want to hear, which is cool. My man Clint says, what do you think about Parker's new conditioning coach they brought in? Fuck, he can't do anything but get better, right? I think he need to make a change to continue to improve. I'm not sure. You know, sometimes, man, when guys aren't going in there and looking super impressive in fights and they have, you know, they just have tough fights, tough style matchups, they think they need to go and change everything. So hopefully he's not leaving everything in training camp. You know what I mean? But if it, you know, if you want to, you know, work in your conditioning, that's great too. But I'm old school fan when it comes to all that. To me, just get in the gym and work on your boxing stuff and the way to come off. If you're in there hitting the bag, hitting the mints, working on your head movement and footwork and technique, you know, you going to a gym, maybe going to the gym, have the temperature at 100 degrees, go in there and sweat your ass off. You know what I mean? That's your conditioning right there. You know what I mean? But if they're bringing in somebody that specializes in this, then, you know, good for them. Hopefully it works out for them. Peanut Butter and Cracker says, some people's reasoning is very weak. If a baseball team goes scoreless for 2/3 of the game, but then explodes in the 7th, it counts. It's valid. The same truth. Yeah. You know, but he lost the first 8 rounds, though. Okay, but he put the dude to sleep, though. You know what I mean? Like, now, those first 8 rounds, you can say, hey, other fighters can use what that guy used the first 8 rounds to probably beat him. But then what you also have to count in is, well, that round the guy got knocked out in, they can't make that mistake those first 8 rounds. You know what I mean? So that's boxing, man. That's boxing. Fat Apple says, do you think Wilder should fight the Hammer versus Povetkin winner if AJ Parker next? I think that'd be a good fight for Wilder because I think Povetkin will win that fight. And that's a fight I still want to see. I still want to see Povetkin and Ortiz fight Wilder. I know some people may say they're drug cheats. They shouldn't get a chance. But that's the thing. Whether you think they should or shouldn't, they're still ranked. And they're still getting, you know, Povetkin and Hammer, from what I heard, is going to be a title eliminator. The winner's going to get a title shot. So whether what you think should or shouldn't happen, what's going to happen is, as long as nothing happens as far as a drug testing issue, they're one step closer to a title shot. So I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. I still want to see Wilder versus Povetkin. I don't know how to block, man. Let me try to block real quick. Oh, there we go. Just gave him the Dikembe Mutombo treatment. All right, let me see. See, this is ridiculous, man. There's a couple dudes in here. Let me just block them real quick, man. You come here, listen to me anyway. This is why I don't get. You come here, listen to me anyways. All right. I just blocked them, man. Is there anybody else in here that's talking crazy? Now y'all saying shit. I don't know what that shit means. Hey, you can write that all day. I don't know what that shit even means. I don't block you anyways, although I can't understand that shit. You must be upset, man. I must have said something you don't like. All right, man. What else? Oh, this is getting fucking crazy now, man. It's like a team of these motherfuckers. It's like a whole team. Or is it one motherfucker doing this? Somebody says it might be. Hey, man, I hope people ain't mad because... Nah, I ain't gonna go there. It's all good. It's all good, man. Somebody says it's the Barry White. All right, let me just get to a boxing question. Somebody says, I think the point with Wilder lost the first 8 rounds is a comparison. We rarely see AJ outbox. That's a valid point. That's a valid point. And I think the reason for that is AJ doesn't, well, yeah, rarely, because you said rarely. So you didn't say he never, because Klitschko's winning some rounds. But what I will say is AJ doesn't give guys opportunity. He's not going to be patient like that with you, or his figuring you out is more come forward and just put leather on you. Whereas if Wilder threw as much as Joshua does, maybe it'd be a different outcome. Maybe Wilder gets the KO earlier. But Gerald Washington, I had Gerald winning all those rounds until he got knocked out. Again, I had Spilka winning 4-3-1. I had one of the rounds a draw before he got knocked out. So I agree. That's a valid point in my opinion. But in those rounds he was getting outboxed. It wasn't like he was getting his ass whooped, though. It was just, to me, some of those fights, it was just much of nothing really going on. It was just like jab, and Wilder was kind of just sitting back, laying low. I thought Gerald was doing a good job of using his jab. And, you know, I always thought, now we can look at it now and says, what? You thought Gerald Washington and Wilder would have been a good fight? You know, but I said this is way before the fight took place. This is like 2015 I did a video. It was like summer of 2015 I did a video. And I remember, and the video is still up, I was saying I want to see Wilder versus Washington. And then when the fight was made 9 months later, I was like, damn, we get to see the fight. Although the circumstances wasn't quite how we wanted it to be. He was he was a replacement for Warzik. But just the way Gerald fights, and then the way that Wilder likes to be patient, I just wanted to see, could Gerald take him 12 without getting caught when he got caught. But yeah, man, Wilder's somebody that grew on me, man. I know a lot of you guys think I'm this huge, you know, but he is somebody that grew on me, man. Like, and I'm the type of guy, man, I'm not going to keep just hating on somebody and finding reasons not to like him. He grew on me. Like I told you guys, I thought Stavern was going to beat him. You know what I'm saying? So this is somebody that grew on me as time went on, man. Oh my goodness, they're here again. This is ridiculous, yo. Money Man says Wilder's style is setting up the right so AJ can win rounds, but the right hand will win the fight. Yeah, man, he likes to sometimes Wilder can posture and, probe with his jab, man. That's the one thing. If Wilder goes in there and probe with jabs, man, and he's not careful, I think AJ come over that jab with a right hand. See, in the situation like this, Wilder won't just be able to, again, it's about timing, but I don't think that Wilder would just be able to just sit back and just solely rely on his long reach, because AJ has long reach. He has an 82-inch reach, man, and Wilder has 83. So if Wilder's probing and not really putting a snap on that jab, or at least you can probe when the other guy is also probing. You know how guys get in there and kind of literally they'll have their jab hands like hitting each other jab hands. You know what I mean? Both trying to set up a right hand. I think Wilder can get caught doing that. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't necessarily count AJ all the way out as far as fighting on the outside against Wilder, because Wilder, when he was in it, I know it was an amateur fight and he's a better fighter, but he got caught against the Romanov guy with right hands. The guy was literally waiting for him to throw a jab, and it was like clockwork. As soon as he threw the jab, dude just threw a right hand. He didn't wait. He just like automatically threw it. So if AJ has that mindset, anything can happen, man, especially heavyweights. But then he has to be aware of what Wilder's going to throw next, because sometimes if he's probing to set up the right hand. So he may bait you into thinking, okay, you come over this jab if you want to. This right hand will come right behind it. You know what I mean? So I think Wilder would have to use that jab more, at least to, even when he's probing, try to do it towards Joshua's face to make him blink, man, and just to make him blind for 1 second, not even, you know what I mean, a half a second, then come with the right hand. But I definitely think AJ could come over the top, man. Thomas LJ says, how do you break down a fight with AJ against prime George Foreman? That's a good question. That is a good question. Man, that's a good question right there, man. George, to me, had crazy power in both hands, and I don't think he gets enough credit for his boxing ability. And I think he moved more fluid as a fighter than people give him credit for. Because George would be in there kind of knocking down your punches with both of his hands, will have both his gloves open. To me, George didn't get enough credit for his movements, man. People just looked at him as this big guy. They look at the Ali fight and think that's it. I think George had more to his game than that. Young was able to outbox him, but I don't see Joshua trying to box like that. And to tell you the truth, I think Joshua is easier than George was, in my opinion. I see George winning that fight. Now, some people may say, oh, but he's a lot bigger. But, man, George, he wasn't, although he's shorter, I think he's, 6'4", somewhere around there, 6'3.5", 6'4". I think he was like 230, something like that. But he was very powerful. I mean, you could just look the way he was built, his forearms, his calves. He was solid, man. And he had power out of this world with both hands. And he could take a punch, he can get back up. I would favor George. Roz Cloud 222, what's up? He says Wilder power is a game changer. It certainly is, man. I'm trying to block these dudes, man, but it's like as soon as I block them, another one pops up. Roz Cloud, okay, you picked Stavern in the first fight too. Yeah, I did too, man. Like a lot of people, I mean, it's easy to say now, like, how could you have picked him? But again, man, when you don't think people have certain facets of their game, man, you tend to go with the other guy, man. I didn't think Wilder had a back foot game, man. Mr. Meaner ESQ says, what do you think is better for Wilder if he doesn't get an AJ next? Take a competitive fight and risk dropping his stock, or take an easy fight as possible and look to build on the Stiverne momentum? Take competitive fight. Wilder should have the mindset that, although us fans may disagree, his mindset should be all these fights are easy. All of them are. Give me Miller, he's easy. Give me White, he's easy. Give me Brazil, he's easy. That should be his mindset. It shouldn't be, I don't have the WBC rankings pulled up, but let me just pull them up real quick. But he shouldn't try to take on, as you said, an easy fight. He should build on the momentum beating Stiverne with a tougher fight than Stiverne, even on paper. And I thought the rematch was going to, I didn't think it was going to end in one round, but I knew he was going to beat him pretty convincingly. Let me pull up the WBC really quick. But before I pull up the rankings, I mean, shit, Dillian White or Brazil? I only have to look at the rankings. It should be Brazil or White, in my opinion. I still want to see him fight Ortiz too, man. So it should be somebody like that, man. JW says AJ could manhandle Wilder, I think, to the point where he's pounding him close, mid-range to the body, clinching and jabbing. I'd be interested to see how much Wilder can take to the body. Me too. I'm curious to see if he gets in there with a committed body puncher and somebody that not necessarily can just sit there and take right hands from him, but when they do get hit, they can still stand upright, get close to him, and somebody that can land consistent body work on him. Because sometimes Wilder like to put the high guard up and he'll let you tee off on his body. Then he'll come out that shell and throw back and he'll get you off him like he did Duhaupas. But yeah, I want to see that too. And shit, for the record, I want to see how AJ would deal with that too. Because Takam was doing some good things in there. He just couldn't land good solid shots. You know what I mean? He was landing some good shots and AJ was taking them. The best shot that was landed was a headbutt that busted up AJ's nose. But yeah, man, realistically, I want to see both how these guys are when they get tested to the body. Nobody likes it to the body. Nobody does. A guy that I think they can possibly test his body is a guy like Jarrell Miller, in my opinion. Fat Apple says Wilder gets knocked down in fights I have seen by straight 1-2s, and that is AJ's best punch. I think we can argue that. I think his best punch is his uppercuts, but he has a good damn right hand. And I think for him, the best time for him to throw a straight 1-2 would be when Wilder's trying to pull back, or maybe in the middle of exchange. Maybe his right hand gets there quicker than Wilder's. WildsCloud222 says Wilder jab is the key. He has a good jab, man. Some people say, oh, but it's against limited opposition. I know a fast jab when I see it. I mean, all you have to do is just sit there and watch. I mean, it's getting there pretty damn fast. And it wasn't so much the right, well, it was the right hand that put Stiverne to sleep. But what made it happen was the jab. He was landing jab after jab after jab, some more jabs, another jab, and 5 more jabs. And I think Stiverne got used to that rhythm. And then out of nowhere, Wilder stepped in with the jab. I think Stiverne thought, okay, it's another jab. And then, boom, there goes the right hand. Right on the damn chin. Never saw it. Never recovered. Somebody says, what do you think of Junior Fa last fight? Phenomenal. He went in there and destroyed Latham. That's his best opponent on paper thus far. And he destroyed him. He did what a big heavyweight that size is supposed to do when you're on national TV. Go in there and destroy. And that's what he did against, on paper, Latham is his toughest opponent. Another undefeated guy. Latham have fast hands. Isn't a world beater, but at that level, prospect level, guys that are trying to make their way up, fighting on showbox, I thought it was gonna be a much tougher fight. And Fa went in there and just jumped on him, man, and got him out of there. Had him, he beat him down. He beat him down. HHH 1200 says he could hold down his left arm and throw the right like he did against Washington. He'll get DQ'd in the UK for that. It was a subtle hold. I mean, bro, you act like he went in there and grabbed his left hand or took his jab hand, held his arm down, and while he was holding it down, then he came up. It was so subtle, man. I've seen a lot of guys do that shit where you're throwing a jab or not even throwing a jab. You're just kind of pawing. You're knocking their hand down. He wasn't holding it down like that, man. It was real subtle, man. You guys go and watch that. You guys, hey, go watch the right hand that Washington or that Wilder landed on Washington, and tell me if he'll get DQ'd for when he threw the jab and kind of knocked down Washington's hand. He's not gonna get DQ'd for that, man. You act like he had him in a damn arm bar, like holding it down, pressing it down, didn't he? It was subtle, man. It was real subtle. Another guy that does that technique is Ortiz. Ortiz does this thing, man. He did it in the Matiz Vidando fight where he'll literally raise his right foot in the air and come down with his right hand, like a karate chop down, and then come with the left hand. Either it's a straight left hand, loop in, uppercut. It's a technique. All right, let me block some people really quick. Let me block this. People leaving spam. Let me block them real quick. Unity Boxing says, I'm not going to keep arguing about who will win. It's pointless. Yeah, it's pointless, man. I'm just, I know you're probably talking to somebody else, but I'm just giving what I think about it, man. This is, one of the reasons why I want to see the fight, man. I think it's a damn good matchup, man. It's a damn good matchup. Foreman was a small heavyweight. Okay. Which George? The prime George or the George when he came back? I mean, 6'4", 240, 50 pounds when he came back. That's not small to me. And I don't get why people think bigger is better. See, this is what kind of, now in his prime, I know he was closer to 225, but this is what kind of confuses me about fans sometimes. Not necessarily you, bruh, but just overall. All right, so the Klitschko era, people are saying, I can't pronounce these guys' names. This is boring. These guys are big, tall, slow, right? Now big, tall, and slow, to some people, now it's, these guys are just way too big for the guys in the past. You guys do know there were 6'6" guys in the past, right? You do know there was guys that were 240, 250. And bigger doesn't always mean better. Old doesn't always mean better. It's just, that's why I don't really like comparing the eras, because every era is different. And we just, as fans, sometimes we think, well, whatever's current's better. The training and blah, blah, blah. Well, to me, I thought guys were more skilled back then. That's what I think. I think nowadays guys are relying on strength and conditioning coaches. I'm not saying nothing wrong with that, but I thought guys in the past were more skilled. You get what I'm saying? So, and Mike Tyson knocked out a lot of guys that were 6'4", 6'5", 200 in this, 200 in that pound. So, I don't know, man. If guys went in there and, try to treat George like he's some small guy, they're gonna end up getting knocked the hell out, man. Yeah, I know I need a mod, man. I'm to police the channel while I'm doing this, man, but I'll work on that going forward. Wilder still wants to fight King Kong. Yeah, I heard him say that when everything happened, that he still would like to fight him. Joseph Bacon says Foreman had better skill in his comeback. He could bend still and kill men in his prime. Down goes Frazier, down goes Frazier. Any man could lose to Big George. Yeah, man. I remember having this conversation about Mike Tyson, and you guys know Mike's one of my favorites. So is Big George, and I think George beats Mike. Around when they first was trying to get that fight, around when he fought like Buster Douglas, around that time, I thought I thought Mike would have lost to George, man. I know I'm gonna get a lot of comments now about that, but I just thought the style was all wrong. I thought the style was all wrong. That whole, Qua Wee type of style, Burt Cooper. I mean, I just thought it was all Frazier. I'm not saying that those guys are better than Mike, but I'm just saying I think that style is all wrong for George. All wrong. Holyfield was going toe-to-toe with George, but he also knew when to bounce around a little bit, move a little bit. He wasn't just, you know what I'm saying? And Mike, although Mike could throw some good jabs, he was throwing some good jabs against Tucker and things like that. But Mike's MO was come forward. And that's right down Big George's wheelhouse, man. It's coming at him, trying to attack him. And I just think it's just all wrong. JW says you should do a live stream with Hatman. I'm down to do a live stream with a lot of uploaders on here, man. Shit, you let Hatman know. If Hatman's down to do it, I'll do a live stream with Hatman. There's quite a few guys I want to do live streams with. Fat Apple says WBC rankings have been a joke since Vitali dropped the belt. Bermain is still top 15. Yeah, that's crazy. Bermain Stavern being number 15 is ridiculous. I seen that the other day, man. That's fucking crazy. But I will say that all the sanctioning bodies are pretty damn ridiculous. When you have Kaitoro Fujimoto number 7 by the WBO or some shit. All four of the sanctioning bodies are ridiculous. But yeah, I do agree that Stavern being number 15 is just crazy, man. Mr. Endgame Boxing was good, man. He says Joshua has a shorter reach and steps back. Joshua is too damn stiff. Wilder is not letting Joshua get that close jab city. Yeah. Like I say, it's timing, man. I know Wilder has a good snapping jab. I think it's timing. And shit, once Joshua starts laying his leather on Wilder, how is Wilder going to react? I mean, we could say this about both fighters, you know what I mean? But it's, it's not certain that just when Joshua does land, Wilder just eats it like M&Ms. That's not certain. He might go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? This is why I want to see the fight, because to me it's 50-50, man. A lot of things, it's like the good, the bad, and the ugly. A lot of things I've seen Wilder do great. It's like, damn, I don't think Joshua can stand up to that. But then there's some things that Joshua does where it's like, ooh, if he gets close, man. And then, we say that he's not going to get close. Well, shit, Dupa got close. He got real close. Close enough to swell up both his eyes close. You know what I'm saying? So I just wouldn't necessarily count him out that he couldn't get close. Mark Pomley says Amir Mansour is the sleeper of the heavyweight division. I like Amir, man. I like Amir. I like his story, man. Unfortunate that his fight with Kuzman, they had a clash of heads, and that fight got stopped in the third, man. That fight was for one of the minor WBC titles. I'm sure the winner would have cracked the top 15 of the WBC. So it's he didn't get a loss on his record, man, but all right, let me see here. Y'all still here, man? It kind of went out, then it came back. All right, somebody asked, let me see that. I just seen it, man. Somebody was saying, oh, I lost the damn question, man. Where's it at? Somebody was just asking me, besides, oh shit, let me try to find it. It was a good question too. Let me. Damn, I can't find it. Somebody was saying besides Wilder using his jab against Stavern effectively, who else did he use his jab great against? Shit, I thought he used it good against Areola. The areola fight. Spilka. I mean, it's just in spots. Like he has to use it consistently. A lot of his fights, I've seen him use it great in spots. It's when he's consistent with it. I think he needs to be more consistent with his jab. Now I think Stavern was a little bit easier target because he was putting the high guard up. But when Wilder was throwing in and snapping it, it looked very effective. There were spots in the Duhaupas fight where he was using his jab well. Kelvin Price, he was probing with it, knew when to throw it. You know, he used the greats in spots. I'm not saying he puts on Larry Holm all-time great performances in every fight with his jab, but he was using his jab effectively in spots in a lot of fights. Fat Apple says, can you see any of the current prospects challenging top 10 in 2018? Give me some names. And for the troll that's in here, you keep talking, man. It's all good. And what's so crazy, man, is the people that's leaving these troll comments have other accounts. They just won't say what they want to say under their real account. That's what's so crazy about this, man. I don't believe this is just some new person. No, this is somebody that comes to my channel frequently or has probably uploads videos or some shit, and they won't just say this shit under their real account. That's what's just so crazy to me. It's like, man, just say that under your real account. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Like, if I felt a way about somebody, I'm gonna tell you under Mr. Boxing Today too. I'm not gonna tell you how I feel under some made up ass account. That's crazy. Tell me how you feel under your real account, man. You can say what you want though. I mean, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Let me see. Mr. Meaner says, how bad is it that fighters are made mandatory without fighting any other top contenders? I thought mandatory meant you earn your stripes and could be. Exactly. It was like when just most recently, well, shit, you can use Stavern as a example. Huey Fury, who got the fight Joseph Parker, as an example. He came off, I think, beating Fred Cassie and got a title shot. You know what I'm saying? Stavern sat out forever. Didn't look great in the one fight he did have in 2 years. And he, you know, hey, man, hopefully we find it. I mean, it's these sanctioning bodies, man. It's these sanctioning bodies. It's ridiculous. Why are these people spamming? I mean, I don't know why these motherfuckers are spamming me, man. Well, I do know. They like to hate, but it is what it is, man. You know. Okay, Fat Apple says, I think Kuzman and Konowski could enter top 10 2018. I think they have I mean, Kuzman still, I'd like to see him fight Mansoor again, man. I think they got some unfinished business there. Konowski, I like him. He's almost like a version of Kuzman to some degree. But I like Konowski, man. He may be one of them guys, he may be cut from that Dominic Brazil cloth, man, where he's going to take a lot of punishment, but he can issue some punishment too. And he seems as if he's a good body puncher. According to Jarrell was telling me that Konowski is very underrated body puncher, and the world's going to see about it. This before the Spilka fight. This was like a damn near a year ago when I first did a video about Konowski on my prospect watch. I've covered about 90 prospects, man, but and he actually was landing some good body punches against I forgot the guy who he was fighting. I forgot the guy's name, man. But it was on the PBC undercard, and he was landing some good body shots in that fight. And that's when I first started to notice his body punch. I'm like, damn, he does got some good combinations to the body. But Konowski's tough, and he took care of Spilka. Now, some people may argue Spilka's done after that fight with Wilder. We can argue that, man, but I didn't think Konowski was going there and handle him like that. I didn't think he was going to handle him that easy, though. That was pretty damn easy. M. Reynolds says Kuzman has to fight Mansoor again. Yeah, we just can't move on from that. That has to go down again. I mean, they could do whatever the hell they want, but I think they need to fight, man. Somebody says, what about super series for prospects? I think that'd be a good idea. I think it'd be a damn good idea. Roz Clyde, here you go, man. You asking me these tough ass questions comparing eras. Corey versus Usyk. Corey was fucking tough, yo. He was tough, man. I'm almost damn near willing to pick Corey, but Usyk, taller, quicker. It's hard to compare eras like this, man. I'm gonna say no comment on that. I really don't know, man, based on that one right there. I haven't seen Usyk in a type of fights against the type of competition that Corey fought. But Corey on his best day versus Usyk on his best day, I think Corey can win that fight. Definitely. This isn't, I know a lot of people look at Usyk now and say, oh, Usyk, he has great footwork and, you know, listen to HBO tell it, he's the, best thing since sliced bread. I think he's a good prospect. I like his skill level. I think he can give probably some of these current heavyweights, some of them, the right matchup, some problems. He dominated in the World Series of Boxing at super heavyweight. He was dominating them dudes. But Corey was tough, man. Somebody says Bo KO Tyson. Yeah, you're right. Corey beat Sherry. Yeah, he's tough, man. The dude was fucking tough. Bo KO Tyson. Bo's a good inside fighter. I think he'll give Tyson all he wanted on the inside, man, to tell you the truth. If Bo went in there and fought a disciplined fight and mixed it up with Mike, let's say he went and tried to fight an inside fight, Mike got the best of it, and Bo kind of went on the outside and used his jab and range, and the best Riddick Bowe that we can see, like the one that fought Holyfield. Shit, man, that's a tough fight. I'll probably favor Mike, but that is a tough fight. I'm probably showing my bias right now, but that is a tough matchup, man. That is a tough matchup. Bo, I know people just remember him from throwing his title in the trash, man, and not fighting Lennox, but he was a talented fighter, man. One of the best big man. Well, now everybody's 6'5", you know what I mean? But he's one of the most talented fighters I've seen at heavyweight. Trap House Boxing was good. He says Char versus Caballero. That'd be an interesting fight. They almost damn near marry each other, to tell you the truth, man. I think that'd be an entertaining fight. They almost marry each other, or they did in their last fights, in my opinion. Like the move, put up the high guard, combinations here and there, move a little bit. High guard, combinations, move a little. I think they'd damn near marry each other. Just think Caballero's the fresher version of Char. Tua versus Tyson would have been a brawl. Yeah, it would have been. It's like the first guy to land a decent left hook wins, right? I would probably favor Tyson in that one because just a quicker puncher of the two. But Tua had a damn good chin on him. And I think Tyson was a better body puncher. I'm not sure Tyson would just hang on the inside and just have a war. Damn, I wish we would have got to see that fight in the 90s, man. I would probably favor Tyson going into it. But it would have been a great matchup. Fat Apple says, Usyk is outstanding. I think he beats all heavyweights. Technically brilliant. Yeah, he has some good technical skills. But like I always say, man, technique and how beautiful a guy can box and paint a great picture in the ring and all that can be all erased by some good old power on the chin. And can he stand up to that? Again, like I seen the dude dominate the super heavyweight division in the World Series of Boxing. Now, there isn't an Anthony Joshua in the World Series of Boxing, Deontay Wilder, Pavek, and all these other guys. But I definitely give him you know what? I think him and Parker right now is dare I say, 50-50? Based on what I've seen what Parker did with smaller guys like Takam and Ruiz, it might be 50-50. Based on styles, in my opinion. Standing 8 Count says, I heard Bob Arum's interview on the Boxing Voice, and he said Parker versus Joshua won't happen next. And he's told Higgins not to make the fight. Didn't know Bob has such an influence over Parker. Well, I can't really confirm or deny that. I haven't heard it. I'll try to go watch some. I thought it was IFL TV. Somebody said earlier in the chat. But anyways, I'll go check it out. I know Bob is co-promoting him right now. He got that deal right before the Ruiz fight. Mike Jack says is Chisora's career over, Mr. Boxing. Chisora's doing what he does, man. He loses these close fights on the scorecards, and that's pretty much the level that he's at. He's a competitive fighter. And it seems as if he only shows up in great shape when it's a name, or according to when it's a name to him. But to me, he should have been in some of the best shape of his life going into this fight with Cabello. Cabello's young, hungry guy. I thought Chisora was going to win the fight, but I also thought he's going to show up in better shape. I don't think it's completely over. I think he can still, shit, man. He may be demoted to fighting guys like Daniel Dubois and Nathan Gorman sooner or later here, man, as they work their way up. But I think his career, but there's still some good fights out there for him, man. The Dillian White fight, it probably lost a little bit of luster now because he lost, but I think the UK fans, the way they support their fighters, they'll still go watch that fight, a rematch between the two. I'll watch it. D. Obianuli says, Prime Focus Lewis beats every heavyweight ever. We can argue that, man. I can't lie. Lennox was a bad man. I actually got a picture of my pops and Lennox. I was going to use as my, instead of using my face, you guys see it's from my channel, I was going to use a picture of my pops and Lennox. They took that in 95. But I was always a big fan of Lennox, man. I know a lot of people, when I see fans say, yeah, the Americans didn't appreciate Lennox till he retired. That's not true, man. Now, a lot of American fans, because we're cheering for guys, we're not going to fucking cheer for Lennox over Tyson and Holyfield, our guys, but we definitely respected Lennox. I knew Lennox was going to beat Tyson going into their match, but I was still rooting for Mike to pull off the upset, the victory. But I knew breaking down a fight, I'm like, yeah, Lennox going to whoop his ass. You know what I mean? Mike has a puncher's chance. That's it. And Mike is the guy, he's the epitome of having a puncher's chance, right? But I knew that Lennox was going to paint him up, man. But Lennox, he was on HBO all the time too. Like a lot of us like Lennox, man. You know what I mean? Even back in the 90s. So that whole thing, we didn't appreciate him till he retired. That's not true. That's not true, y'all. That's totally false, man. I'm not saying every fan, but a majority of us, we liked Lennox. Sometime I didn't know what the hell he was doing, man. Sometimes I didn't know what he was doing. Sometimes he was, well, I'm not getting into that, man. But Lennox was a good, damn great. He was a great fighter. Yeah, here we go. Exactly. The troll telling me shit. How about you use your real account and talk shit? That's what I don't get, man. That's what I don't get. Hey, man, I'll respect you more if you use your real account. Mr. Meaner says, what's going on in the U.S. heavyweight scene? Why have none of your contenders fought so we at least have some clear idea of who's at the top in your country? Well, the guys that's at the top right now, the guy that's at the top is Wilder. And, I mean, Washington fought Jarrell Miller. Israel Gono, I know he's from Poland, but he came over. He's with PBC, came over. He fought Brazil. Mansour fought Washington in Brazil. I mean, we've had some fights, but yeah, you're right. Guys should be fighting more. But it seems as if a lot of these guys want to fight Anthony Joshua. He's a unified champion, and you can make, a lot of money fighting the guy. I've been saying this for a while, man, that all these guys should be fighting each other. And when I bring that up, people say, oh, the money's not right. Or why should they fight when they should just try to improve their ranking to fight Anthony Joshua? I've been saying this shit for a while, man, that all these guys should be fighting more often. 5'4" Trail Swan. I don't know if you're talking to me or not, but he says, "Are you anti non-USA?" No, I don't know what the hell that even means. Mr. In-Game Boxing says, top all-time heavyweight champs. Number 1, Holmes. Number 2, Ali. 3, Lennox Lewis. 4, Joe Louis. 5, Holyfield. 6, Tyson. That's a good list. That's a good list. Me, I will go with. Well, first, let me just say, man, I'm super biased when it comes to Ali, Holmes, Foreman. Tyson and Holyfield, Lennox, Joe Louis, Jack Johnson. Or let me rephrase that. I'm very biased when it comes to the 3 fighters, Foreman, Ali, and Holmes. Those are my all-time 3 favorites. But I also add to that list, it's pretty much my favorite fighters of all time. Like I said, Jack Johnson, you could throw in there Lennox Lewis. And out of the Klitschko brothers, Vitaly was, I think Vitaly was a better fighter. I think Vladimir, more accomplishments, longer reign, obviously. But I think Vitaly was the better fighter, in my opinion. I thought he was tougher. I don't know. I just think Vitaly was an all-around better fighter, man. I think his back foot game was better than Vladimir's, to tell you the truth. I don't think he was willing to hold and stuff like that the way that Vladimir was able to do it. I rate Vitaly pretty high. I think Vitaly was a damn good fighter, man. I don't think he gets enough props. And like I always say, man, the only thing that I had against their era, the Klitschko brothers, I know they're brothers. So, and that's a special feat that they're able to create, being 2 blood brothers, holding down the division at the same, simultaneously. I give them credit for that. Only thing is, with their era, the 2 top guys never fought. They were 1A, 1B, and they never fought. So that kind of, we just never got to see literally the best fight the best in their era. But I get it, they're brothers. Somebody says Dillian White is the best heavyweight currently. All right. Somebody says Vladimir was more talented and in a fight he would win. I don't know about that, man. I will go with Vitaly Klitschko, in my opinion. David Turner says, how much money do you think AJ versus Wilder would make if staged in the USA? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. But one thing I do know is you don't need 90,000 people to make a lot of money. Look at Floyd Mayweather. He was fighting a motherfucking MGM Grand all his fights, and he never came nowhere close to that many people. MGM Grand only hold, what, 18, 17? I'm not sure, something like that. Look at Mike Tyson. He made hundreds of millions of dollars in his career, and he wasn't fighting every fight in front of 90, 70,000. You know what I mean? So you can make money over here, man. You don't need to have 90,000 people in the arena to make a lot of money. And that's a fact. D. Obianuli says, my favorite heavyweight right now is Big Baby. Yeah, Miller's an entertaining guy, man. He talks, you know what I mean? And his style, he wants to come forward. You know, he doesn't seem like he's this guy's going to get these, one punch KO type of wins, you know what I mean? But he does want to come forward. He does want to mix it up. That's one thing you can't say about him. He is there to put on a fight. He does want to fight. He wants to get in there and have a high work rate, man. So you really can't complain about that, in my opinion. A guy that wants to go in there and throw punches. You know what I mean? So you can't say he's running or he's boring me to death or anything like that. Miyahide Dan says, Miller never proves against UK dudes yet. Yeah, whatever. Shit, tell Dillian White to want to fight him. Dillian White blocked the dude on Instagram. Like, they both got connections with Eddie Hearn. That fight is an easy fight to make, man. You know what I mean? I know this whole, I know Dillian White has a #1 ranking with the WBC. Doesn't necessarily mean he's the mandatory, but if he can't get a Wilder fight, man, that fight with him and Miller and White needs to happen. It just needs to happen. That's one of my top 5 fights out that I want to see at heavyweight. 5'4" Trell Swan says, what do you think of Usyk? I think he's a phenomenal talent. I think Usyk is the goods, in my opinion. I think he's the best cruiserweight right now. And I can't wait till this tournament to get over to see if he wins it. My 2 favorites going into the tournament before they put the seedings together was Breedis and Usyk. So, but he still got a ways to go in this tournament. Now, it isn't just a far-going conclusion that he wins out. Got Gassiev, got Dortico. I mean, it's, you know, some hitters up there, man. But Usyk is a very talented fighter, man. Christopher Howard says Dave Allen's the best social media heavyweight. Dave Allen's a tough kid, man. I just wish his career was steered a little bit different. He got thrown in the fire real early. I mean, he was fighting Dillian White, Ortiz. He got thrown in the fire really early in his career, man. I wish he could have, you know, took 15 to 20 fights, working his way up, and then take those type of fights, man. But tough kid, man. Ali Dago 619 says, out of all the heavyweights right now, who would you rather be? What do you mean by that, bro? What do you mean, who would I rather be? Fat Apple says George Arias needs to do some shouting. Now, for some of you, don't get confused. He's talking about the prospect from the Bronx, the Dominican prospect George Arias, who just had a tough fight. Who just had a tough fight, man, against Mario Heredia. Heredia actually had a good fight in the World Series of Boxing with Joseph Parker. But he's not talking about the guy from Brazil, the journeyman guy. He's not talking about him. He's talking about the prospect. But Arias was talking about wanting to fight Jarrell Miller. This was like a few days before the fight with Heredia. Then he went in there and got knocked down by Heredia and all that. He has a good motor. Smaller heavyweight, he has a good motor. Very enthusiastic, comes to the ring dancing and singing, and he has a good motor, man, for a heavyweight. But he needs to keep working on his craft, man. Roz Cloud 222 say he's a fake Mike Tyson. I just think he's a good, talented fighter, man. I'm not, we'll see how far he can go, man. But he's gonna be in there with some giants, and he doesn't seem to have like that crazy power, but he has a good motor. And he seems relentless, but Heredia dropped him. Now, that doesn't mean everything that Heredia dropped him, but it showed you that he can be put on his behind. And it's going to be an uphill battle if he can't really crack guys and put guys down with power shots. If he goes in and try to just grind out decisions, he's going to I think he'll have a tough time getting around jabs and straight right hands. Somebody says, 5'4" Trell Swan says, what do you think of Lucas Brown? I think Lucas Brown needs to take fights, man, when they're offered to him. Now, I know you want to negotiate and get the best deal you can possibly get, man, but now I see he's back calling out Dillian White. So it's like, okay, you're calling him out, but before you said wasn't enough money involved. Brown, in my opinion, man, has had some setbacks, and he's getting older. So eventually you would have to think. I'm not saying the guy should go in there and fight for crumbs. I'm not saying that. But if he's very confident he's going to win fights regardless, he may need to bite the bullet, so to speak, and just, take some of these fights that are being offered to him, man, to go on to bigger and better things. Again, I'm not saying go in there and fight for $8,000. You know what I mean? But if it's a little less than what you're usually making, than what you're usually making, take the fights, man. White versus Parker, who wins? That's a fight I would favor Parker. I think he is more disciplined than Dillian White, and I think he's better conditioned than Dillian White. I think he has better fundamentals. I think he can crack harder. I would trust Parker going into that fight more than I would White. But Dillian White would be a live dog in that fight, though. I don't think it'd be a blowout, but I definitely would favor Parker. Triphouse Boxing says, what do you think about Gorman? I think Gorman's a good body puncher, young guy. I think Ricky Hatton's doing a good job with him. It comes down to, can this dude take shots and how will he deal with being jabbed to death? Because he's another guy that, he's not little. He's 6'3". I think he weighs like 240 or something like that. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, something like that. So he's like, it's crazy today, man. Like today, 6'3", 6'4" guys are like the inside fighters now. You know what I mean? But height doesn't necessarily mean everything. But he's seems to be a good body puncher against the lesser opposition. And they were talking about him and Daniel Dubois possibly trying to fight. Or I heard Dubois talking about it. You know what I mean? So I like what I see. You know, but I want to see more of them though. Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce. Who wins? 5'4" Trail Swan. Right now, at this minute, I will go with Joyce. Just experience. And I think he could take a shot. And Dubois, and that's one thing people don't consider. They always look at the offense. They never really question what happens when he gets hit. What happens when he gets hit? We don't know. I've seen Joyce go down. I've seen him take shots in the amateurs. And, you know what I mean? I've seen him tested. Now, maybe Dubois was tested in some amateur fight that I didn't see, but I haven't seen him tested against the caliber of guys in the amateurs that Joyce has fought. And he's very experienced. Right now, if they were to fight next Saturday, I'm going with Joyce in that fight. Now, 2 years from now, you got to remember, Dubois, what, did he just turn 20? He's a young kid, man. This dude's a kid. He's like damn near half my age. He's a kid, man. So couple years from now, man, I'm gonna go with Dubois, but right now I'm going with Joyce. I think he's just more experienced, and I think and he's a physical guy too, man. You know, he's gonna be some little guy in there with Dubois. I will go with Joyce right now. Man, some of this trolling is just outrageous, man. Jesus Christ. Federal Tracks was good, man. He says Wilder KOs Joshua easy if he gets him to shot all his shit and he's still around. Yeah, if he gets him tired, yeah. I believe if Joshua is dead tired in there in front of a calm, relaxed, not tired, Wilder, yeah, I think Wilder finished him, man. But same thing goes if Wilder's in there dead tired and Joshua's in there still has momentum and he's calm and relaxed. I see him finishing him too. Mr. In-Game Boxing says, that's the box. And do you think Cassius Chaney will make any serious noise in the X-ray division in the upcoming years? Chaney, man, I heard a lot of good things about Cassius. I was gonna say Calbert Chaney from the Indiana Hoosiers back in the day, but Cassius Chaney. I actually interviewed him, man. You guys go to my playlist. I've actually done some interviews with fighters, but Chaney, man, rangy guy. When you see him fight, he doesn't look like somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience. He actually fights like a guy that has some experience, man. I heard some good things about him out of the Tyson Fury camp. He actually was one of the main sparring partners for Fury when Fury was getting ready for that first Vladimir Klitschko fight. So he's a good, talented fighter. Obviously, I want to see him step up against better opposition. But some of the journeymen that he's fought so far are good. I'm talking about journeyman guys, as far as the journeyman level guys. He's fought some good journeymen. So he's learning some things. Just got to see him step up and take on like a 50-50 type of fight to really see where he's at. And that goes for a lot of guys, not just Chaney. But I like Chaney, though, man. Red. Oh, she was Red Fox? Okay. All right, somebody says, just a quick question. Who will boxing history regard as a better heavyweight, Areola or Chisora? I think it's about 50-50 in my opinion. Really, I mean, both just guys that were title challengers, you know what I mean? Contenders. They'll just be in that group. That's what I think, to tell you the truth, man. I think it'd be probably 50-50. You have some guys saying it's Chisora, some guys saying it's Areola. To me, they're about the same. When Areola was on his streak coming up and HBO was pushing him, you know what I mean? He had a little name behind him. Then he went there against Klitschko. And even in that fight, he showed some heart. He was getting pummeled. He was getting pummeled in that fight. But showed some heart, man. He went in there and put it in to Seth Mitchell. He knocked out Molina in one round. I mean, Chris has some bright spots in his career, man. You know, I think it's about the same. It's like they're on the same level to me, man. Vince Camper, what's good, bro? Jordan Walker says, what did you make of Miller's last performance? I thought he looked hittable and down on power for such a big guy, but he moves pretty well also. I agree. He does move damn well, not just for a guy his size, but just for a heavyweight. I think he, moves pretty well on his feet. He does try to move his head and work his way, to the inside, and he throws these awkward punches. Sometimes he's out of position. Sometimes he'll be damn near in a southpaw stance still throwing shots. Again, now, his most impressive performance to me was the Donovan Dennis fight, where he knocked him out viciously. I remember doing the post fight on that one. That was a vicious knockout. That's actually the first time I interacted with Jarrell. He came to the actual post fight video and left a comment. But anyways, though, he doesn't seem to have like this one punch knockout power. But then Mariusz Wach is a tough guy to try to test that out against. You know what I mean? Nobody's knocking out Mariusz Wach with one shot. Klitschko couldn't do it. Povetkin only got the stoppage victory because of a cut. Was it a cut? I believe in the 12th round. So he's like the wrong guy to try to test out, one punch power against. And I thought it was just a workmanlike performance. It wasn't like, like a highlight reel type of performance. Even Jarrell said he saw some things in there that he didn't like. So it was one of them performances, man, where he just did what he had to do. As far as him looking hittable, he doesn't look any more hittable than any other heavyweight that I've seen right now, to tell you the truth. Ali Dago 619 says, when will Brian Jennings fight? I'm not sure, man. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon we get to see Jennings back in the mix, man. This was y'all still with me, man? This was before the Ndongo Crawford fight. Aaron was saying that Jennings, have that fight against who did he fight? Daniel Martz, and then another fight, and then have a fight against Parker. And a lot of fans were like, huh? Like, so fight two total. See, that's the thing with some of these promoters, man. I don't think they understand what they're saying. Now, for Jennings in his career, that's a great opportunity for him. Fight two journeymen and then get a title shot. That's great for him. But as a fan, really, man, sit out for years and fight two journeymen and then get a title shot? Come on, man. Like, in Jennings, I like Brian Jennings. Tough guy, man. He fought Klitschko and Ortiz in the same year, and he was trying to win. He wasn't just thrown in there. He was trying to win. But come on, man. Like, it's like you're giving us a cup of piss and telling us that it's apple juice, man. It's like, come on. It's like when guys get title shots like that, it make me shake my head, man. Although, And the matchup isn't all that bad, Jennings versus Parker, but it's just like, whatever happened to like fighting, you know, another top rated contender and then the winner of that gets a title shot? What happened to those days? It's like those days are just not here no more, man. But I don't know, man. Christopher Howard says, "What about the big Chinese heavyweights? Zhonglong, was it Zhonglong Zhang and Zhang Jili? I want to see them fight each other. Now, Zhang Jili is somebody. If you guys remember when AJ first won his title, they were Eddie Hearn. You guys can look this art. I actually did a video about it too. You can look it up here on YouTube. Just type in Jili Joshua Hearn. Probably my video will pop up. Me or Hatman or somebody. But they actually brought his name up to fight him. I know they fought in the amateurs. Did they fight in the amateurs? I believe they fought in the, yeah, they fought in the amateurs. So they're talking about that fight. And then and G Lee right now, man, he is a good southpaw. He's undefeated. He actually, I think he's probably fought another time since then. But I know the last fight I remember him fighting was against Curtis Harper. You guys remember Curtis Harper when he fought Areola on PBC? That was a pretty exciting fight, man. It was very entertaining, rather. And Harper was very out of shape for that fight against Areola. He looked like a totally different fighter physically. His body looked totally different against Zhang Jili, and he got stopped quick. You know what I mean? When it comes to crafty southpaws with good left hands and experience, those guys are always tricky to fight, man. So I would love to see Jili fight somebody of note, man. He's undefeated. I know he's rated by one of the sanctioning bodies. I'd love to see him fight somebody of note. And Zhonglong Zhang, he needs to travel, man. Try to come over here or something. He has good pop. He's very slow. You know what I mean? And economical with his footwork and his punch selection. There was one fight, man, one guy kept moving. The guy looked like he was terrified. And Zhonglong Zhang just stood there kind of like, hey, man, let's fight. You know what I mean? But that right there lets me know that if somebody's moving on him using a jab, he's going to have problems, in my opinion. But I still want to see him fight. Regan Austin says, anyone know who Ruiz fights next? I'm not sure. I see that he is in training, and I heard him and Areola. I believe it was the Boxing Voice. I seen like some type of video about him and Areola. I think stylistically that's competitive. I don't know how much training Areola has been doing since his time off, but I know Ruiz has been training. I seen him on Instagram. But again, y'all know about the Instagram training. I thought Stavern was going to be in phenomenal shape because he was always on Instagram. And he came in, his weight was high as hell going into that Wilder fight. Somebody says the big 7-foot Chinese dude, trash. Yeah, we're not talking about him. That's, what's the 7-foot dude's name, man? He was with Golden Boy. Taeshon Dong, that's him. Not him. I'm talking about Zhang Jili. Zhang Jili won a silver medal in 2008, and he made the Olympics in 2012. He's way better than him. I'm not talking about that dude. And so is Zhonglong Zhang. He's way better than Taeshon Dong, too. Those guys are on another level than him, in my opinion. Yeah, I see people leaving the Taeshon Dong. Yeah, not him, not Taeshon Dong. I thought I heard something about him trying to go to the WWE or some shit. That'd probably be his best bet, man, because he just who dropped him? Was it damn, I believe he got dropped in the fight, man. I keep track of so many heavyweights, man. It's hard to remember what fight and who got dropped when and what round. Sometimes the shit can, I be forgetting, man. Damn, I've been on for 2 hours? David Nicholas said, how come you a 7-foot boxer and trash? You should be knocking out all the little midgets fighting you. Hey, have you guys ever seen that, I forgot, I believe it was Shaquille O'Neal's show, where he was going around just doing random shit. But he sparred Mosley. Was it Mosley that he sparred? Was it De La Hoya? I think it was Mosley. But he was getting tagged. I mean, it's just, that's what I'm saying, man. Size doesn't necessarily mean everything, man. You gotta be able to move like a fighter too, man. And he just doesn't have that fluidity as a fighter. He just robotic and kind of slow. And just because you're big doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna be a power puncher. And a lot of guys sometimes I think get confused. You know, guy can be 7 foot or 6'6", 240, or 6'7", 250, and they think, look at Ustinov. He's 6'8", 250. In the fight with Char that happened on Saturday, Char looked like the guy with the harder puncher in that fight. Vince Camper says Shaq wasn't in his physical prime when he was explosive and athletic either, though. Yeah, he wasn't, but he was damn near, he damn near had like a 200-pound weight advantage, man. But yeah, he wasn't the Shaquille O'Neal from the Orlando Magic or his first, his prime years with the Lakers. I know that, man. But just being that he's so damn big and he's fighting somebody that had their best days at welterweight, it just looked kind of weird seeing him getting tagged up like that. Trap House Boxing says, I tell people all the time about size and boxing. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean everything, man. And to me, it's how you use your size. You get in there just thinking, hey, I'm 6 inches taller and I weigh more, you're going to fuck around and get knocked out. It's how you use your size. Jarrell Miller might not be like a one-punch knockout artist, but he uses his size effectively, in my opinion. Because why? He's putting pressure on you. It's not about him weighing more so he's going to punch harder. No, it's about his is kind of weird because he's putting like a work rate together, and he weighs a lot, and he's putting that pressure on you, getting close, bumping shoulders, moving you. It's how you use your size. Some guys think they're gonna get in there and like intimidate somebody. It's not gonna work, man. That shit might work somewhere down the street on in your neighborhood, but that's not gonna work professional fighting, man. Not when you're fighting at the high level. Regan also says another circus freak, Valuev, I'm sorry. Yeah, man. I want to see him fight the Klitschko's, but he did not want to fight the Klitschko's because of the contract they were offering him, which was pretty much if you fight one of us, then the contract says you have to fight the other one. And he did not want to fight. But my thing is, if you're trying to prove you're the best, and then being that the Klitschko brothers were pretty much the two top guys, I would have signed the contract. I know it's kind of easier said than done, but if you lose, then obviously you don't have to fight the other guy. But if you beat one of the guys, okay, you went 1-1 against the brothers. What's wrong with that? And you're going to make good paydays. You know what I mean? Those would have been massive fights. I don't know why he didn't sign the contract. It's almost like he wanted to say, well, if I win, I don't want nothing to do with y'all again. You know what I mean? I want to just win and ride off until the sunset, which is his thing. But I think he should have signed that contract, man, even if he did have to fight the other brother afterwards. Shit, okay, if you beat the one, like I said, you went 1-1 against the brothers, But yeah, he was very slow. I thought he got a gift in a few of his fights, man. Yeah, he was just very slow and methodical. Yeah, he was very slow, man. But he was big as hell. His fucking head was huge, man. This dude was, he was a big dude. Had all that damn hair on him and shit, man. I knew he wasn't going to be around. Yeah, he was just slow. He wasn't horrible. He was a lot better than Tayshawn Dung. He won a strap, you know what I mean? But he was just real slow. Just real slow. And hittable because he was so damn big. It's like when you're that tall and big, it's hard not to get hit. Like, look how big you are. Somebody's going to catch a piece of you, you know what I mean? Somehow, some way. Fat Apples, who do you think ducked him? Shit, if anything, to me, he ducked the Klitschko's. Again, I know that he didn't, but shit. I don't know, man. To me, when you're trying to prove you're the best, I don't see what's the problem with having a contract to where if you win the first fight, you fight the second best guy. I don't know, man. But maybe that's just me, man. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Like, man, when I played ball back in the day, man, like I want whoever was, in the city that they was saying was also, because I wanted to go against the best at all times. I know it's different sports, but I always wanted the best. I didn't want no tune-ups. I didn't want the second best. I want whoever they were saying was the best so that I can prove myself. And if I came up short, then I came up short. I know that's amateur and they're professionals and all that, but that mindset, man, I don't get how in these professional sports sometimes that mindset that got these guys to the level that they're at, it just disappears when they get a lot of money and and other people get involved. It's like that shit disappears and it turns into what's best for business. It's like, what happened to the glory, man? I know it's prize fighting, but glory has to be sprinkled in there somewhere. Hey, man, it was good chopping up with y'all, man. I'm going to get off. I was not expecting to be on this long. I went 2 hours, 2 hours and 2 minutes, man. So I went kind of long. Good chopping up with y'all, man. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. I'm out.